Say hi, Teddy.
Hi, Teddy.
Hey, say
Hi,
hi to Rio.
Madison.
Hi, Rio. Good
Hi,
morning. Good afternoon. I guess it's good
Rachel.
afternoon for you.
It is. It is. Oh my goodness, a balmy afternoon in Charleston, South Carolina. But how's it going up there or over there? Over in a little up
Over
where?
yonder?
Over
Yeah.
yonder.
You know, I'm doing exactly what I think a pizzeria owner is supposed to do the Monday after Super Bowl, and I'm taking it easy. I'm
I
taking it
hear you,
easy.
sister. Me too. Notice the hat.
Love it.
Yeah, I just came from the beach. Had to clear my mind. That's
Awesome. Well, this
great.
this conversation, I'm so excited to have it. You know, we've never met before. This is the first time that we've ever connected. And I'm so excited that Ozzy was able to make this matchup and see something in us that we didn't necessarily see ourselves. So I mean, like, I'd like to know, like, cool, if you wouldn't mind starting, like, I'd just like to know, like, a little bit more about, like,
Sure.
how did you get into pizza? Like, how did this happen to, like, where you're at now? And then, like, I want to know, like, where you're at now.
Right,
But
right.
first, how you got
Well, it's pretty simple. I, by trade, am a writer and a publisher, so I had to do something to make money. Because yeah, I mean, it's unless you hit it big, which is a lottery, you have to supplement income when your passion is writing. Ozzy can um, go with me on that one because she's a writer as well. But you I started super early when I was 14 where I think that was my first job. It was at Papa John's, which was, this shows my age a little, but it was brand new in Birmingham, Alabama. That's where I'm from. And I was like, oh, this is cool. You get a little thing of garlic. So I loved the marketing, and I didn't realize what it was at that point, but I was so drawn to all the marketing of it and the little extras. And so I wanted to work there. And it's my first job. Something interesting happened that was monumental in my life and still to this day. I fell in love with making pizza with the dough and stretching it and the whole glutinous aspects of just that art. And in the midst of all this, falling in love with this craft that I, oh, he's so cute, with this craft that I had just found, um, I was I started getting sexually harassed by the manager. It became thick. It became physical, and I had to quit because of it, which put a bad taste in my mouth for um, a few things. Pizza, not really pizza. I always love pizza. Not pizza's fault, but just
I would
food.
blame the pizza, though. I'd blame the pizza. I
I,
don't know.
I kind of blame the pizza, but just working with other, working for somebody, and that just it something hit. And by age 21, I had started my own business, not doing pizza, but other things. And then I learned the ropes, entrepreneurship, and from that point forward, I've owned my own businesses. But throughout owning my own businesses, I kept weaving back in to making pizzas. I loved it. And I fell upon this gorgeous place. I hope it's still there. Karen Smiley owned it in Atlanta, Georgia. I was publishing Labrys Atlanta magazine there, and I needed some extra money. And Karen owned Slice, which was became huge in downtown Atlanta. All the rappers, all the famous rappers, Ti, all the Lil Jon, they would always go there, and it was tremendous. But it was tiny in the loft division. I forget the name of the street, but where are they going with this? Oh, we had a blast. I was there in and out for years, and then I moved to Charleston in 2010, and it was just always in the back of my mind. So after 2020, I ended up a little prior folding a magazine that I had started here, and the magazine industry is just, pardon me, but it's part of the dead businesses because social media, what is it? Social media killed the magazine mogul.
Basically,
Um,
yeah. Uh-huh.
you know, so I decided, all right, well, I got to do something else, and my fallback was always pizza, and here we are. So that
I like
started.
I love it because, like, what I heard and what I took away from this is, like, this wasn't like an overnight thing. this was years in the making. This was essentially a lifetime really in the making. And I think that that kind of makes it even more special that like you were able to keep coming back to it after all this time, you know, and that really does show your passion towards it. Yummy. Thank
Yes.
you.
He's a feeder too. He's a
He is
feeder.
manja manja. He's been around, you know, he sees how it goes.
Lord,
Um,
he's gorgeous.
but I think it's also very special that you were kind of able to take this experience that you had, of course, that was a negative one and very uncomfortable and probably unfortunately I would dare say maybe even a common thing in some of these male
Very
dominated
nice.
spaces like pizzerias. Honestly, I could go down a whole nother thing here. It really changed my perspective on that. But good on you for being able to turn that around and actually like take ownership of that and be like, no, this isn't actually how I'm gonna, you know, end it on
Well,
pizza.
you know, I think honestly, I would love to take credit for that because it makes me feel wise. But it was the pizza that brought me back. I know that sounds weird, but I think you'll understand. Um, it's something to do with the process that is almost, it's like I woke up to it when I was younger and I've never been able to, let it go. It's like, I don't know. And I'm seeing this in the collective of women. And that's why I love women in pizza. I love it that that Ozzy has started this and this is proliferating because it's so needed. I'm finding a sisterhood like that here. And everybody has the same feeling of it, the collective pizza making. And this is what brings me to you. I want to hear your story of how you got involved in the most eclectic that I've heard pizza stone process. It's pretty awesome business. Go
You
ahead.
know, we do share a big thing, and I think it's passion. You know, I ended up here without any experience in pizza making, in you know working in you know back of house stuff. I was always front of house, bartender, customer service, retail. Like that was my vibe. But I loved a couple of things. I loved traveling and I loved like music festivals and I loved my freedom. And so I think it was probably like so we launched in 2018. It was probably like 2016-ish. I had just moved to Vegas. And you know, when I had moved to Vegas, I didn't move to Las Vegas to set out to be like a cannabis crusader or anything like that. But the way the timing worked is I was leaving upstate New York, the Rochester, Buffalo area, um, at the same time that language had been written for there to be a proposal to get cannabis, you know, recreationalized and have that be a ballot question in the following year's, you know, voting initiatives. So I got to Vegas and I literally was like, okay, I'm just gonna like try to get a job with this, you know, yes on question two campaign, which was the campaign to legalize, you know, marijuana. And I was knocking on doors, making phone calls. Like I was literally like the girl being like, hey, can we count on your vote to vote yes on like legalizing weed? And people were nasty and people were like, don't call my house stoner. Like it was nasty. Okay. And you
Ignorance.
know, I was doing that because that was like something I was really passionate about, and I liked being able to try to be the voice that could, you know, help with the destigmatization and help break down the stereotypes. But the problem is that work doesn't pay.
No.
You know, I'm not. I wasn't trying to be a dispensary owner. I wasn't trying to be a marijuana cultivator. I was trying to be a woman advocating for the rights of consumers and advocating for equality. And
Mm-hmm.
so because that doesn't pay, you know, I had to figure out a way to monetize my life, but also have enough freedom to where I could go to Washington, D.C. if I needed to have a meeting with my state legislators, because I did that. I actually became, I was doing grassroots stuff for a long time, but then I had a short and honestly, arguably regrettable experience as a registered lobbyist. I took it that far and registered myself as a lobbyist because I believed in these issues. But you can't work a full-time job and be an advocate like that. So traveling, loving freedom. I just happened to go to a music festival in 2016. There was a pizza truck there with a wood-fired oven, and they were moving and they were grooving, and they had a line all the way to Timbuktu, and they were dancing to the music, and the staff was having a good time, and the tip jar was overflowing. And I was like, this is it. This is it. Mom, I figured out how I'm going to go to music festivals the rest of my life. I've got it. Never made a pizza in my life.
No way. Oh, that is amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. What a drive. That's amazing. That's cool. So can you just a little bit about your pizzas? Where are you targeting now as far? I know you do your catering, right? You're mostly catering, weddings, and are you doing any music events?
It's interesting because now that I'm part of like this inner kind of catering circle here in Vegas, it's kind of not really necessary. I make great money. I make great money doing private events, and I have great clients that like, why work and sweat for 3 days at the music festival when I can actually probably just go and enjoy the music festival myself by taking a few, catering gigs earlier that week and taking the weekend off to go and do it.
Yeah.
So,
I love that. Man, that is where it's at. What a great, I think I love it that your drive was fun. I wanted to have fun with this. And then now it's still, you're busy, you're blowing up, and it's still like, I'm having a blast. I'm having, because that's what got you, were the staff generating, perpetuating this this awesomeness, this spark of just excited.
Yeah, that's the energy that like I love that type of like I love when I see people, having those types of interactions with one another and connection and sharing that type of energy. Like, I thrive in that environment. Like, honestly, I can't really do that great if I'm not in that type of environment. So like, if I'm not having fun, if it's stressful, if it's something I'm anxious about, I'm not my best, and that might sound really immature, but it actually took a lot for me to get to that realization, to be honest.
No. I have a friend that taught me something, a mentor. One of his company's Green by 3, and I am very avid about people, planet, profit. That's my accounting. I'm a triple P kind of woman with all the businesses that I've done, and or all the, not just the ones I've created, but the ones I'm involved with, like other people's entities. If I come in, we're not going to be serving styrofoam. We're not going to be messing up the planet. We're not going to be jacking the community. If anything, we're going to do a community events, and that's just, you uplift the people, you uplift the eco, the earth. Take care of our earth, and then you put it on the same line as the profits, and then you have a very fulfilling, or I have a very fulfilling workspace. So on that fact, Green by 3 is George's company, and he has 3. This is terrible, but he has 3 aspects, and I think I can't remember what all of, but one of them is fun. He's like, I think one of them, he's very conscious, the eco-conscious, and it does this. His second concept is of the community, so he's also a people, planet, profit business. But the third one, or I should say the first one, because he calls it the first one, but he says you have to have fun. If you cannot have fun and that energy is not in,
I love that,
what you do, and it passes through, and we're doing food, so he does more workspace enhancement. But if we're putting it into food, I feel like people are eating this energy.
I'd love for you to share with me more about him, like after the show, and maybe we can even put it in the comments when this goes live, because maybe it'll help other women. That sounds like a pretty interesting philosophy to look into, especially as business owners.
Absolutely, yeah. Triple accounting.
So Now, with your, just you were talking about, you know, eco, and are you like, is sustainability like a focus of yours? Is that like
Absolutely.
something? Yeah, like I'm
Absolutely.
really interested to hear about how you do that, because that's something that like I absolutely wanted to be a goal. And I've
Mhm.
actually been heartbroken because I feel like now that I've been in this industry, I contribute to the problem worse, as a restaurant owner, buying plastics and disposables and things like that. So I'm curious to hear how you integrate that.
Totally, totally. Okay, so I have to tell you my fail before I tell you my succeed.
That's
Um,
fair.
so one of the businesses that I started and failed at, it just wasn't the right time. But it was called the kombucha cart, and I wanted to peddle kombucha in Charleston, and nobody knew what that
Oh my
was.
goodness. You had like a whole Scobie hotel, didn't you?
Oh my gosh. It was so I built it was all about people. When I first found out about people planet profit. What's that? What's triple P accounting? Oh my gosh, this blew my mind. I was like, oh I got it. I'm gonna sink my entire world in it. So I went and I found there were, in Charleston at the time, it was 2000, maybe 2015, 16 maybe. But the housing industry, people were just mowing our beautiful woods down and throwing up these cookie cutter houses and selling them because we became the most uh, desired place to be. I forget the name of the several magazines that named it, and it friendliest place, best place to retire, best place, and we got flooded. So all these people, tycoons, real estate tycoons from North Carolina and wherever, came in and started buying up all of our cheap land and putting up these just massive housing communities, and they would build them in like 3 months. I mean, it was duct tape and coat hangers. I don't know what they were using to put, but I would drive around these communities and collect all the wood that they threw. I mean, the trash was. I wasn't the only one. There was local builders here that was just taking, because they would just throw away sheets and sheets and sheets of
So much waste.
yes,
Ugh.
it's so much waste. Absolutely. So I constructed. I'll have to share with it. Like maybe I'll send pictures. They can integrate it. I mean, it's super big fail. I made a kombucha cart, and it was supposed to be this push cart. Um, the wood was treated wood, and the inside was, the lines and all that were pristine. Those were new, but everything else was upcycled material. So it looks pretty rad. It looks it looked pretty cool, right? And but oh my gosh, it must have weighed 1,000 pounds because of the wood and all the materials. So I failed on that. So it was so hard to push. But I was like, oh, I'll just make a crank and I'll pull it up and I'll just trailer it to these events. Well, I started buying compostable cups, because I want to be eco-friendly. I mean, that's so corn compostable cups that you don't even have to recycle them; they just melt, right?
Yep.
Because they're
Yep.
corn. Well, in Charleston in the summertime, it's about 100 degrees, but it's about 120-degree humidity, and I'd be serving these kombucha cups, and they'd melt right when I'm like serving it. People would be drinking and the cup would be melting down their hand. So that was a huge fail, and the cups cost me a lot of money.
So
Um,
I bet those cups were so expensive.
they're so expensive, and then I had bought in bulk because of that, so I had no place to store it, or I just didn't know. I didn't know. So moving forward, big fail. I learned a lot. I still love kombucha, so I'm not mad at kombucha. However, I learned to find, don't reinvent the wheel. I learned to find people. And right now, one of my mentors is also one of my greatest friends. She actually was the one that named me Rio in 2014. That's a long story because her name's Maria as well. And her name's Maria Kelly. And she created a More Healing Kitchen, which is a gorgeous nonprofit. It not only, there's two parts of it. One part is feeding people that are going through cancer treatments and can't take care of themselves. They they they
Mm.
feed them. They make food, and it's vegan, but it's some upscale, gorgeous vegan food. And then they teach the people making it. They have kids, the high schoolers, come in, and they get special credits for learning how to cook clean and healthy. Like that, these kids don't know what quinoa is here. They don't know what it does, what clean grains and clean vegetables do for your system. But the youth now are ready to learn. I mean, it's a whole different world for them. So I started looking at her company because she uses all compostable materials. They'll have a party where there's over 100 people and they have one bag of trash, one small bag of trash for all those people. And I'm like, gosh, I got to do this. So I've learned a lot just by watching her. Um, One thing that, based on what you said, that so cute, so busy, that I one little blind
A little distracting. Sorry about that.
Oh no, I love it. That's fine. I'm in my heart, I'm his age, so we get along. Him and I, we got this. I'm about to start beatboxing for him, man. He's gonna boom, come on, boom, boom. He's so cute. But anyway, I'm gonna do a bring your own plate party where people bring their own plates and they can come up and get the pizza. If they want to take it, they can. We'll provide a wrap up, but we'll do pop ups where I don't have to worry about pizza boxes, or I don't, bring your own whatever, and people, they leave with their own stuff. So you're not using a dishwasher, you're not using material for plastic cups and all of that. So yeah, you know, there he is.
That's awesome. It's like the fact that you've, pretty much been consistent and dedicated to that throughout your professional and I guess entrepreneurial endeavors is pretty cool because like I kind of said, I sadly did I don't want to say completely give up on that, but yeah, I kind of haven't been able to. I mean, I integrate compostable things when I can, but
Right.
to be honest with you, more of the compostable products that I find have in a very small print somewhere that
Yeah.
if you don't have a facility in your area that actually composts it, it's not going to compost on its own. So
Yep. That is true.
misleading, and I feel like
Very.
even there needs to be more education and like really kind of like spearheading this issue in the
Mm-hmm.
restaurant industry because I do feel like the restaurant industry contributes, you know, unequally
Yeah.
to some of the downfall of our ecosystems issues and climate issues and, waste on this planet. So
Yeah.
here we are again, another thing we have in
Another
common,
thing. I love
another
it.
thing.
Well, in the restaurants industries here in Charleston, their fix for it is charging more. And we have gotten to a space here in my little town that the restaurant workers can't find a place to live, affordable living. So they're leaving, and we used to be restaurant thick, culinary thick, and they're shutting down like that, because we can't find anybody to work because rent is, $3,000. Nobody, and that people are still getting paid, you know, small, so it just doesn't make
Like
sense financially.
So with your business then and your clients, are they struggling to like afford the services? Is that an issue you're seeing at all
Absolutely.
too?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they're struggling.
Yeah.
So this is the what I've seen. One of the issues is the solution is charge more. For example, okay, well the boxes, uh, paper industry, something went up. So let's just, for example, say the pizza box. Okay, they just went up another. Let's just say a 10% or 20%. So what do? We transfer it to the customer. We could consider transferring the responsibility to the customer and actually making it fun. For example, bring your own plate or bring your own, and they get, the pizza is normally $20. I just make it even, but $2 off if you bring your own plate, or make it
Yeah, really
personal,
incentivizing and making it fun, like you said.
Yeah, and then you can have a contest on the wacky plates. I mean, there's so many fun things you can do, and the winner gets a free pizza. I don't know, it's like, then it becomes part of the community. People walking around with these weird plates,
Right.
Make
How'd you
your
get
own
that?
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a conversation piece.
Yeah.
And
Right.
see that I think we need to get away. If the money's too much and it's getting too intense, get away from it. People get married to this concept. Well, I got to buy more, buy more. My former partner, we had Amazon packages every single day, and I'm like, why? It could be a screw. We need a screw. I need a. I shouldn't say that.
That's tough. That's tough
But let's
though.
buy one.
Mhm.
Let's buy
Yep.
let's say a hammer.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know, but anyway, moving from that. There's just
But
other ways.
I love your like awareness and bringing even like something. Again, you're just like you're kind of making me more aware of things because that happens as a business owner. Unfortunately, sometimes I'm too busy to run to Home Depot and ordering the littlest thing ever that's going to come in this ridiculous size box because it's going to get
Right,
here in the morning on Amazon.
right.
It's the way to go, and it's not responsible. But I think I don't know. I think part of like being able to just take those steps and start to change it is the awareness, of course, and hopefully that's what some of our maybe viewers are able to take out of this conversation today a little bit is a few
Well,
nuggets like that.
you're more volume than me. You crank out more pizzas. You have more business. Right now, I'm just getting my bearings and getting started. I don't have now. Believe me, if something happened and I had this influx and all of a sudden I needed to feed 200 people, I would be Amazoning that stuff and getting it there because that's our responsibility. So I'm in no way by any form or fashion downgrading any entrepreneur that um, is needing to uh, bring in product for because they need to feed their people, that their masses. I mean, that's what it's for. I mostly to this, I'm speaking to people. I mean, I 50 50 people is what the next venue holds. And that's my volume. You see? So I don't have employees. I'm speaking from a place where I can start trying this out. And I think that's where I'm at is the trying to see if it works, you know, if bringing your own plate even works, or people like, oh, that's dumb, or that's, or worse, the health department doesn't like it. I mean, that can be, you never know. So I'm just experimenting where if you were to try something like that, you have a lot more to lose, than I would at this point right now. But I'll share with you along the way what works and what doesn't work. I'll share with all the WIPs, and yeah, but yeah, I'm in no way facet or form. Um, I'd never snob anybody that needed to grab some quick well, not combustible. I'm not trying to say some styrofoam plates,
Right.
or
Right. Right.
whatever.
Right. No,
Disintegrator.
and I think that's the thing though, but it's like, like when we know better, we do better. And I know you said it's important that you don't come off as trying to like make anyone feel shame. I
Yeah.
mean, my kid he's literally screaming Alexa on right now. Okay?
Ah,
So as we're talking about this, he's screaming Alexa on. He wants to engage with the Alexa. So,
oh my
I mean, interesting, right?
god, that's so
We
cute.
live in an
That works.
interesting time. We live
It
in an
is,
interesting time.
but they're the future. They're the future, and you know what? I was thinking about this earlier. Somebody said something about AI writing, and I'm like, you know what? If you use autocorrect your AI writing, like I get it. I'm as somebody that writes consistently, I can spot AI writing, but it's it's not. People need to learn how to integrate with AI. And I know that's a huge thing in Hollywood right now. I'm not talking about taking people's jobs, although mine has been taken by AI and being a writer. But you don't get the
Literally.
passion. It has, yes. But you don't. The passion is still there, and it can be integrated somewhere else. But yes, it is a made the iPad is the babysitter, and then when my generation, the TV was the babysitter. So who am I to say, oh, it's rotting their brains? I mean, I turned out fine. I mean,
Yeah, and too, it's like it's hard because like I've actually had to make a really conscious effort for the, I mean, I won't let the iPad be the babysitter, you know? I mean, hence why he's here right now. If I had an iPad right now, he'd be fine, you know?
I think he's an awesome addition. I'm enjoying him. I'm enjoying you, buddy. Oh.
That's him saying Alexa on.
Alexa on. I see that.
Alexa, say good morning to Teddy in French.
Good morning to Teddy in French is Bonjour à Teddy.
So this
Bonjour, Teddy.
This is what we do with Alexa. He's driving me nuts. But yes, this is the best I can do with the AI right now because it's inescapable, right? It's inescapable. And so I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to fry my kid's brain with it. How can let's teach him French with it.
Yeah. I love it. Girl. And you know what? I'm going to take what you just said. I'm going to bring it back to pizza because I am looking at how you operate as a business owner, the way that you are controlling everything that's going on with your child and you know, moving them and feeding them and communicating with them and all out of love. And I can imagine if you are slinging pizzas and you're getting like crazy back there, you're probably singing, having a blast, you know, chilling. Like you don't look like the type of person that would let anything really get to you. And I that makes me that's a big example, you know, because you keeping the energy up, you know.
You know what? Like, thank you for saying that. But like the reality of the situation is, and I hope that in one sense, I hope you know what I'm talking about because I hope you get to that stage with your business. But on the other hand, I hope that you're able to handle it in a completely different way than I am. But I am an anxious person. You know, I mean, I didn't come across cannabis and being, you know, this pioneer for its benefits, you know, just because I enjoyed getting high. You know, it does help me with my anxiety. And, you know, being a business owner, when you have anxiety, it can be tough.
Okay. Baguette Magic. I have integrated my commissary kitchen with a group or two sisters that just came about. My neighbor's their executive chef. I told him what was going on, and that when I moved back to Charleston, because my partner and I went traveling for a couple of years, and when I came back, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this pizza. I'm going to do it. And I talked to him about it because he's an executive chef. He got me my first bread making job here in Charleston a long time ago. Just side hustle, you know, and I ended up falling in love with it again. So I told him what I wanted to do. And he's like, I've got to introduce you to the sisters. Paula and Sam are their names. They bought Baguette Magic in 2020. I think it was 20, might have been before that. I don't know. I'm sorry. But they're very much into helping female entrepreneurs get their start. So I have been embraced, which I am very grateful about. It's very hard here with the licenses and getting everything together. And they have been a key component selflessly in helping me with my first pop-up and anything else. And of course, my awesome neighbor, their executive chef, Troy Tipner, has been a mentor of mine through this as well. So yeah, that's women helping women, you know, women in pizza. It's like there's a movement here that is running deep into allowing a next stage of entrepreneurs to crest and become successful by creating a tribe of compassionate women that want to see other women succeed, that want to straighten crowns rather than thump them off heads, you know, which I am very appreciative. I'm an oddball. I don't dress the norm. I don't act the norm. I've considered myself happy and fun to be around, but if you're looking to put me in a place and make me dance to somebody else's beat, it's going to be difficult. And they, you know, can see that and they embrace it. And that's wonderful for people to be able to help sisters helping sisters, you know? So that's like, yeah.
No, that's so awesome. And I think too, like, especially like in the pizzeria space in particular, where like, you know, there's so many cookie cutter things, red, white, and green, and the use of the Italian flag and the use of amore and, you know, all these, you know, very cookie cutter things. I think, I mean, we're naturally going to stand out already because we're women, which for some, that might be enough. Like, hey, I'm a chick in the industry. I stand out already. I'm good. I think like you, I ride a little different where I'm like, we gotta really stand out. You know what I mean? We gotta do something a little different, you know, and that's why with my branding and, you know, some of the content that we do and the names of pizzas, well, you know, we're a little bit more on the funky side, you know, just trying to be a little different, you know. But like for you, like I know that also like you have a very huge emphasis on like your ingredients and, you know, how you're crafting, you know, your pizzas. What's your favorite pizza that you make and that is like available to your clients?
So I'm so glad you asked me that, because I thought this would be a great, I didn't know how to interject this, but I'm going to tell you my favorite, but at the same time, it's different. It's not for taste, even though it tastes good. But my motion here is to create anti-inflammatory pizzas and use herbs. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Use herbs and spices and gorgeous vegetables to actually, and dough. Thank God. To
You beautiful soul.
I'm sorry. So that when, you know, we don't have to eat badly. Like, you know what, one of the most beautiful anti-inflammatories is basil and oregano. You know, so you match that with toasted sage, you put antioxidants all through it. You can throw a tablespoon or more, depending on how much of a psyllium husk in your dough to create fiber, which is good. A lot of kids don't get fiber these days, you know, not a lot. And people don't get fiber. Yeah, just little stuff like that. So I was wondering what my favorite pizza is all that shit. And my favorite pizza is the best one that I can create where it is a fusion of herbs and spices that electrify your taste buds, but at the same time your body is drinking that health up, and you wake up the next day and you flow like nobody's business, and you don't have knuckle pains or breathing problems, and your skin starts to look better because you keep eating pizza. I mean, what the, come on, that's my favorite pizza. And which brings me to ask you, would you be interested in creating a pizza with me?
Oh my gosh, I would love to. Should we do it for Women's Pizza
Yeah.
Month?
Oh,
And we'll
okay.
both run it. We'll both
Yeah,
run it on our menus.
absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Yes, let's do it. Oh my gosh, I love it. Like, okay, so like, tell me more about what you were thinking. Like, what was your train of thought?
Well, what is the best, your most favorite pizza that you do? What's yours? And maybe we can pull from there, because it's like,
So, you know, and it's I'm partially glad you asked, partially not glad you asked, because here's the thing about where I'm at. Because I'm being hired by private clients to do like their events, I'm at their mercy, girl. And you
absolutely.
know, I could take more control. I do admit there is a lot more I could do, and I'm learning. And
Well,
I'm
you're
being
obviously doing great. You're doing
Thank you.
great.
Thank you. I'm trying to do better about that because like everything you just said about, you know, the anti-inflammatory, like those are my values, you know, that is how I operate, you know, and when I can buy organic ingredients and things like that, I do. But primarily people want pepperoni and sausage,
Yeah.
girl. That's
No,
what
I
they
know.
want, you know. And so it is hard for me because I'm a creative. I when I was starting the business and launching it and doing the branding and my t-shirts and my everything like that, I could be really creative in that aspect. And even a few of the pizzas that we did put on our menu and, you know, are available for people to get, you know, I put creativity into that. But you know, I am at the mercy of who hires me, and I get a lot of elementary schools and kids like
Yeah.
cheese and macaroni. So, you know, that being said, I just try to do it the best that I can
Oh,
with
absolutely.
what I have, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's the opportunity to work together and create a pizza together. This is like I just lit up like that because I'm like, finally, I could do something
Yeah.
cool. Like, this is
Well, no,
fun. This
this
is
is
great.
great. So you say the majority of people, and I go with this too, because that's how it is here. But I don't know how it is in Vice, but you told me that want the sausagey, the pepperoni, that's fennel, that's a lot of other spices, that seven or more,
or more.
Why don't
Yeah.
I am currently speaking with a forager, and we are looking at some lion's mane stuff, lion's mane mushrooms. Let Maybe we can do a fun. Maybe we'll go off that. Maybe we'll
I
do
love that.
something. Yeah, but we'll
I'm
make
so
it
in. No,
spicy and
I'm so in.
juicy, like pepperoni and sausage, and not like fake meat or anything, but
Yeah.
something that's equally as succulent. Did I say right? Succulent?
I love this. This is so awesome. And this is like, again, we're bringing it back to like, now we just connected digitally. We just had this thing. We just had this really cool conversation. But now we're gonna like take it further, and we're gonna
Yeah.
like keep that connection going, keep this cool energy going. And I think that's really cool. And this is what the Women in Pizza community is for, right? Like, and
Absolutely.
hopefully, I know I would have been so inspired to hear a conversation like this prior to speaking with you. So I hope that's something that, everyone listening, takes away. And happy Women's Pizza Month. By the time this airs, it will be March. So
Yes.
to all the ladies in the Women in Pizza network here, thanks for listening to us, listening to Rio and I chat and talk about our stuff.
Absolutely.
I think hopefully I'm speaking for you accurately if I say, like, reach out to us if any of this stuff that's like sounded interesting to you, or you have questions. Like, I would love to keep these types of conversations going with other women in our pizza community.
I'll be reaching out to you personally for some business advice when it starts to grow, because it's so good to have support system.
We have a lot we can learn from each other. I
Absolutely.
really feel like I know I can learn a lot from you. And we kind of did things like almost like, from what I'm hearing, like almost a little backwards. Like, I wish that I would have been able to focus a little bit more on like the pizza and more of my ethos and values before I launched the business. But unfortunately, I kind of launched the business, and now I'm trying to safely integrate my values and things in there now that I know it's stable and safe.
Well, it's still a value business. I mean, women owned, women operated, girl. You doing your thing. Nobody hating on that. I love it. And yes, if anybody needs to reach out and talk or has ideas, I mean that's it's very much an idea based situation. Building pizzas. So if anything just got sparked, please comment, and I look forward to seeing everybody and creating that
How about
relationship.
Pizza Expo? Are you planning on being at Pizza Expo? Is that
I
something you can
planned
see?
on it, and then I got market. I don't know how this happened. It usually takes a year to get Charleston Poorhouse Market. It's called a Sunday Brunch Market, but it's at Charleston Port. Anyway, it's magical. I was like, what? And there's a story there, but I know we're running out of time. We won't, maybe next time. But I have. If there's a way I can swing it, I will. I'll take the red eye down. I don't care, but I don't know right now because I'll be working the market those days. So.
Well, that's, what though, that's the thing is, and I think unfortunately sometimes we are pressed with this when Pizza Expo rolls around every year, but sometimes you got to just make the best move,
Yeah.
and have you been to a Pizza Expo before?
No. I want to go so bad.
I will say, I don't think, I see where you're going with the choice that you might have to make, but I think that either way it would be a valuable experience, whichever way you chose, because the connections, the things you learn, it's just like, it's so valuable. It's just unparalleled. It's absolutely unparalleled. And to be able to like hug in person would be really cool,
Yes,
so.
well, I'm going
And
to try to make it.
I live in Vegas. I don't know if we made that clear,
Mhm.
but like, I live in Vegas. So like, if you're ever out here or you're traveling, please hit me up. I'd love to host you. I'd love to eat your have you eat my pizza. And then
Oh my
like,
God, yes.
I'm not down south very often. The closest
when
I would
you are,
probably be to you would be maybe Raleigh, which I know is hella far still, but I hope I can still try to get your pizza.
always have a
Actually,
place here.
if you come
Always
out
have
here, you should tool around on my wood-fired oven. Like, you should come on my trailer and like work on my, like, come on my truck.
Yeah, man. Oh my God, are you kidding?
That'd be fun.
Love that.
And then we can
I
like
would love
pick
that.
out our pizza that we created like in person together.
Yes.
Full circle.
Let's talk after this because I have an idea. Throw past you. Might be able to
Cool.
do
I'm so
that.
excited.
Oh my goodness.
This was great.
Yeah,
It was
thank you.
nice meeting you. So nice talking to you. I'm so excited to continue this after.
You know, I think that this connection is magical. Yes, absolutely. I think I can just feel the sisterhood. It's very nice. So I am grateful, and I wish you more wild success. And my little man, I will hold you, and we'll beatbox and dance soon. At some point in time, now he's tired. He's like, I've done this interview, and I'm spent.
I'm exhausted, Mom. Get me out of here. My 15 minutes of fame is over. No, this was so great. Thank you again for your time. Thank you to the Women in Pizza ladies for organizing this, and to the Women in Pizza community. We'll see you guys soon.
See you later.